the Florida sun, waiting for the inevitable. When they handcuffed him, he didn't fight. He just looked at the ocean, perhaps realizing that the American mirage he had built was finally evaporating. Chapter 10: The Final Exit. The trial was a swift, brutal demolition of Kirk's character, his defense that these were legitimate trading losses fell apart under the weight of the forged documents. On May 21, 2008, he was convicted on 47 counts of fraud and money laundering. Kirk Wright, the Harvard man, the Atlanta superstar, was facing a sentence that would ensure he never saw the sun again. 3 days after his conviction, in the silence of his jail cell, Kirk Wright made his final calculation. He knew that in prison, there are no ice bars, no Lamborghinis, and no secrets. There is only the long, slow realization of what you have done. He took a bedsheet. He tied it to the top bunk. By the time the guards found him, Kirk Wright was gone. He took the secrets of where the money went to his grave, leaving 500 investors, including the men who had trusted him with their lives, with nothing but a pile of empty statements and broken dreams. Book 3: The Architects of the Fall. Chapter 11: The Ghost in the Machine. The tragedy of the Michael Johnson alias wasn't just that he didn't exist. It was that he was everywhere. In the call center of Berkeley Nutraceuticals, Michael Johnson became a mantle of cruelty worn by dozens of 20-something employees who were just trying to hit their quotas. "I need to speak with Michael Johnson," an elderly voice pleaded on the other end of the line. "He promised me my refund would be processed by Monday." Sarah, a new hire who had joined Berkeley after dropping out of college, looked at her supervisor. The supervisor simply mimed a hang-up gesture. "I'm sorry, sir," Sarah said, her voice robotic. "Mr. Johnson is in a high-level meeting. I can take a message, but he's very busy dealing with the expansion of our new health lines." The reality was that Michael Johnson was a filing cabinet of unanswered complaints. Every time an employee took a call as Johnson, they were adding another brick to the wall Warshak had built between himself and his victims. In his private office, Stephen Warshak watched the live feed from the call center on a series of monitors. He didn't see people. He saw units. He saw conversion rates. He saw the continuity numbers ticking upward like a heartbeat. The beauty of it, Stephen told his inner circle over expensive scotch, is that they want to believe. Every man who calls in thinking he's going to be the next Smiling Bob is already half convinced. We just give them the shove. But the shove was becoming a shove into a financial abyss. Chapter 12: The Bronx Bloodline. To understand Kirk Wright, you had to understand the Bronx of his youth. It was a place of hard edges and cold realities. Kirk wasn't born with a silver spoon. He was born with a relentless desire to find one. The car accident that changed his life happened on a rainy Tuesday in 1989. The settlement money, a few $100,000, was more than anyone in his family had ever seen at once. while his peers might have spent it on a car or a house. Kirk saw it as seed. He sat in the back of the university library, teaching himself the language of the Nikkei and the S&P 500. He learned that the world of high finance was a world of theater. If you looked the part, if you spoke the part, the world would hand you its wallet. Harvard isn't a school. Ma, he told his mother before he left for Cambridge. It's an insurance policy. Once I have that degree, no one will ever ask me where I came from again. At Harvard, he was a ghost. He was the man who was always in the library, always studying the mechanics of hedge funds. He learned how to dress the bespoke suits, the understated watches. He learned how to mirror the confidence of the ultra-wealthy. By the time he arrived in Atlanta, he wasn't just Kirk Wright from the Bronx. He was Kirk Wright, Harvard MBA, the man with the secret sauce. Chapter 13, The Anatomy of a Shake. The first time Steve Atwater met Kirk, it wasn't in an office. It was at a high-end charity gala in Buckhead. Atlanta's elite were there, draped in silk and diamonds. Kirk moved through the room like a shark through a reef, silent, focused, and perfectly adapted. "I've seen your highlights, Steve," Kirk said, handing the NFL star a glass of vintage Krug. "You're a hammer on the field, but now that you're off it, you need to be the anvil. Everyone is going to come at you for a piece of what you earned. You need a shield." Atwater, a man who had spent his life reading defenses, felt his guard drop. Kirk didn't sound like a salesman. He sounded like a peer. "I'm not interested in the get-rich-quick schemes," Atwater said, his voice deep and cautious. Kirk laughed, a warm, resonant sound. "Neither am I. I'm interested in the 100-year plan. I'm interested in making sure your grandchildren never have to worry about a mortgage. Come by the office. See the operations. We're transparent. We're local." Transparency was the biggest lie of all. When Atwater visited the EMA offices, he saw screens filled with flashing green numbers. He saw analysts in headsets. He saw the bustle of a thriving financial hub. He didn't see that the analysts were playing solitaire. He didn't see that the numbers on the screens were part of a looped screensaver designed to mimic real-time trading data. He saw what he wanted to see: a future. Chapter 14, The Cracks in the Polish. By 2004, the Smiling Bob campaign was starting to attract the wrong kind of attention. It wasn't just the Better Business Bureau anymore. It was the Men in Black. Inside the U.S. Postal Inspection Service, a seasoned investigator named Miller was staring at a map of the United States. It was covered in red pins. Each pin represented a cluster of complaints against Berkeley Nutraceuticals. "It's a billing loop," Miller told his team. "They sign them up for a free trial, then they charge the card before the trial even ends. When the customer calls to cancel, they put them in a phone tree from hell. It's not a supplement company. It's a credit card harvesting operation." The investigators began to go undercover. They ordered in Zeit. They experienced the continuity firsthand. They recorded the calls with Michael Johnson. They watched as their own credit cards were hit with unauthorized charges. But Warshak was arrogant. He thought he could outlawyer the government. He hired the best defense teams money could buy. He